Welcome to English Lessons with Dr. Vinamrata.
Hello, my dear students. Today we'll be talking about one of the poetries penned down by Alfred Lord Tennyson, which is titled Now Fades the Last Long Streak of Snow. Now, we have to keep in mind that this is not a whole poem in itself, but it is a part of or a canto from his most famous poem In Memoriam, written in the memory of his lost friend, his departed friend Arthur Hallam, who died when he was only the age of 22 or 23, which was a very tender age, and they were friends at Cambridge. And the death of the beloved friend makes Tennyson move to his core, and he writes this famous long poetry. And this poetry that we are going to talk about today is just one canto from that whole collection of poetries that is titled In Memoriam. So, let's begin. About the poet Alfred Lord Tennyson, 6th of August 1809 to 6th of October 1892. He was a British Victorian poet who also tried his hands at drama, but his plays enjoyed little success. So he was basically established as a poet. He was the poet laureate during much of the Queen Victoria's reign, because obviously that was the time of Victoria. That's why he was a Victorian poet, and he is one of the most popular British poets. Tennyson was awarded the Chancellor's Gold Medal at Cambridge for his poem Timbuktu. In 1830, he published his first collection of poems, which included his famous poems like the Caribel and Mariana. Tennyson's poetry has the unique attributes of medievalism and powerful visual imagery, which was a major influence on the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. Tennyson also penned down short lyrics like the Break, Break, Break and the Charge of the Light Brigade, Tears, Idle Tears, and Crossing the Bar. He also wrote some notable blank verse, including The Idylls of the King, titled Ulysses, and Tithonus. Both of them are very strong poetries and are based on classical and mythological themes. In Memoriam AHH is a masterpiece by Tennyson to commemorate his friend Arthur Hallam, a fellow poet and a student at Trinity College, Cambridge, after he, that is Arthur Hallam, died of a stroke at the age of 22. Now, moving to the poetry. Now Fades the Last Long Streak of Snow is from one of the cantos of the poetry, the whole longer poetry In Memoriam, and it is a long elegy in the death or on the death of the friend, which was composed in 1850. It is written in the memory of his friend Arthur Henry Hallam, and it offers a bittersweet take on the arrival of spring. What grows in the speaker's breast as spring comes into blossom is regret. Regret that his dear friend is gone. He cannot meet his friend ever again. That spring is a reminder that the world continues to turn and life carries on, but Tennyson's friend is not going to return. One of the best poems in the long poetic sequence. So, the whole of the poetic sequence, that is the In Memoriam, among all those poems, this is the most touching and the best of the poems. In Memoriam, the whole poetry is written in 4 lines, and the stanza, the rhyme scheme which it follows is ABBA, and the stanzas are of iambic tetrameter. So there are 4 meters in each line, and such stanzas are now generally called as in memoriam stanzas, based on the fact that they were written by Tennyson or used by Tennyson in memoriam. The meter creates a tonal effect, a kind of effect is created, a kind of melody is created throughout the poetry. And the poem is divided into 133 cantos, including the prologue and epilogue. The poem encompasses many different subjects, from profound spiritual experiences to nostalgic reminiscences to philosophical speculation, romantic fantasizing, and even occasional verses. So, the death of Hallam is the theme which tries to blend in all of these themes together. So, Tennyson's attempts to cope with it remain the strand that ties all these themes together. Now, coming to the poetry, you see all the stanzas are in 4 lines, and that is written in iambic tetrameter. The rhyme theme is A, B, B, A. Snow and blower rhyming, quick and thicker rhyming. Okay, so let's begin. Now fades the last long streak of snow. Now burgeons every maze of quick. About the flowering squares and thick, by ashen roots the violets blow. Now rings the woodland loud and long. The distance takes a lovelier hue, and drowned in yonder living blue, the lark becomes a sightless song. Now dance the lights on lawn and lea. The flocks are whiter down the vale, and milkier every milky sail on winding stream or distant sea. Where now the sea mew pipes or dives, in yonder greening gleam and fly, the happy birds that change the sky to build and brood that live their lives. From land to land and in my breast, spring wakens too, and my regret becomes an April violet, and buds and blossoms like the rest. So you see, the whole poetry is in a kind of full rhythm, and the poet in the very first line mentions the advent of spring. He says that the last long streaks of snow are now fading because the sun is shining brighter. So obviously the snow is melting away, it is fading, it is gone. And what is coming up after the snow, after the winter? There is spring all around, there is blooming all around, flowers can be seen everywhere all around. It is thick with ash colored roots and violet colored flowers all around. You can see the nature is in full bloom. The woodland is full of the sound of the lovely birds singing around. The distance is looking lovelier because if it is filled with snow when there is winter, when you will look all around, you will see only one color, that is the monotonous color, the white color. But now you have several colors all blowing all around. So when you look all around you, the distance is becoming or looking even lovelier. It is giving a lovelier shade of color. And when you look at the yonder side towards the horizon, you will see that there is some kind of song coming from there. Although you cannot see who is singing, but the poet knows that it is the skylark who is singing. The lark is not visible because in the spring it is flying high, so high, it is soaring high, that the poet imagines it to be at a yonder place, and from there it is singing from the blue, from the heaven or from the sky it is singing. The song can be heard, but the lark is sightless, it is flying away all high. And the lights are all around because there is sun, so obviously the sun is casting its light on all the creatures down at the earth, and it is giving a kind of, again, a color is filled up. And in the lawn or in the lea, you can see that the color, beautiful shades of gleamy yellowish lights are all around, the light of the sun. And the flocks are whiter down the vale. So in the valley, if you go and see, even there are more and more birds coming out, because in winter most of the animals go on for hibernation, they are in hiding, but now they are all around, and the birds are also coming. Maybe the migratory birds who had gone away are coming back. So the valley is full with white colored birds, and the milkier every milky sail. So the ships are also out. In the winter, the stormy season, the ships would not be out for sail. But now, because the sea is clear, because the atmosphere is clear, because there is spring all around, it is favorable time for voyages, and that's why this on the sea you will see several ships sailing, and the sailing ships, their white sail looks even whiter in the bright daylight. It looks milkier, and from the distant sea or in the winding streams, in the rivers also, you will see everywhere ships floating all around. And so this is the detailed description from valleys to rivers to seas to a forest or a garden, what is happening all around him. The spring is blooming. All different kinds of flowers he is mentioning, all different kinds of plants he is mentioning. So the sumu pipes or the dives, you can see them greening, you can see them in yonder places, in distant places they are blooming. And the birds, you will see that they are flying, the happy birds, they have changed their sky, because obviously in spring they have come back, they are migratory birds, so obviously in winter they had flown away, and now they have come back to their place to find food, to find shelter, to build their nests here, to brood here, to create new kids, or to spend more time here, creating new generation of little birds after them. And though this is the time favorable for them to live here. So the same thing, when everything is blooming all around, similar thing happens in the heart of the poet also. He feels that from land to land, when these changes are taking, in my breast also spring is awakening, spring is rising up. But what kind of this spring is? The spring is full of regret. He knows that the death is not going to stop the world. Any beloved, if you have someone, a person who is close to you, a family member, your loved one, if he or she dies, the earth, the life never stops. It continues. It's not that there will be winter from that day onwards. No, the spring will come and you cannot stop it. So only thing that you can do is that you have to cope up with the pain, you have to cope up with the pathos, and you have to move ahead. So he says that the spring has waken up too in his heart, and he feels sorry for it, he regrets it, that how can this be happening, how can he be enjoying the spring. But okay, then that is the harsh reality of life, that is life itself, you have to accept it. And with the regrets becomes a April violet in his heart. So it is like a flower blooming in his heart, which is violet colored, which is a gloomy flower maybe, because he feels that he should regret at this point of time. But he knows that this cannot stop, the world cannot stop, it will keep on budding, it will keep on blossoming. So the birds and blossoms, like the rest of the world, his heart also will not stop, his mind will also not stop, his eyes for enjoying pleasure will also not stop. So he is seeing spring all around, he is also enjoying it, he is also regretting the fact, but that is the inevitable truth, that is the harsh reality of life. So the life continues. That is all about in this short poetry. Already we have discussed that this is one of the best poems in the great long poetic sequence, and this poem discusses the advent of spring. It discusses in detail the beauty of the upcoming season and the fading of the snow in the bright days at hand. And the poem is about the take on the arrival of spring, but a bitter take, bitter and sweet, both mixed, an oxymoron kind of situation. Why? Because although the spring is coming, it is blooming all around, but there is a kind of regret also in the heart of the poet, the regret for his dear friend gone forever. Although spring is generally regarded as a festive season, but here the spring is a reminder that the world continues to turn and life carries on, but Tennyson's friend Arthur Hallam is not going to come back, is not going to return. So death is the inevitable truth of life, and the life continues to grow and bloom even when if one dies, or even if one has to live with the burden of the lost ones in their life. So that is all about this poetry. And one of the most we can say important, or you can say guiding quotes from this poetry: and in my breast spring wakens too. So let's wake up spring inside ourselves and shrug off all the melancholy, if there is any in our life, with a positive note, with a tone of positivity. Let's proceed. And that was all about this poetry. Thank you. I'm sure you must have understood the poetry. If yes, then please don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you.